Hey everyone, welcome to another episode from Ampro Engineering. In this episode, we are going to upgrade the car that I'm going to give my brother-in-law for his birthday. And in the previous episode, we replaced all the electronics, but the only thing I want to do to it now is replace these two drive shafts. This rear one seems pretty beefy. These universals actually look really nice, but the front universals look really flimsy, so I feel like this is going to break on our first use. I picked up these on eBay. That allegedly are for this truck, but I've been wrong before. So let's take this all out. These came with no instructions, so that's always fun. Did they come with a wrench? No. Did they come with any? Wait, how that? They're held together. Oh, that's actually kind of cool. They're held together with these little rings. This kit came with no instructions, but it did come with a bag full of hardware, and this is because it came with some other parts that I wanted to use on my WPL 24, which I can't use on this. But these specifically said cannot be used on the C24, so we're going to use them on this, which is perfect. I have a bag of hardware, no idea what they're for, and I tried, probably stupidly, to go to this website, and it said that it was invalid. Therefore, we're just going to have to do what I always do and wing it. So to assemble the two halves of the drive shaft, it's actually kind of interesting. You have this little dog bone looking end. Slot that in here and just twist it in. So that's kind of neat. And they don't have much travel, so it's not like you're going to have this happening. And because I've built many of these universals in the past, I know that these little guys here, there we go, these little barrels with the little hole go in here. And the stud, if I had smaller fingers, will go right in there and push through like so. But they have to be captured. That's what I was wondering how these are all held in. It's captured in here using these little retaining rings. So to get all these lined up should prove to be quite amusing. Wow, oh come on. What was I thinking? I thought I had it in there for a second. About 3.5 years to install. Next we have to put in the retaining ring, which should be equally as fun, or maybe it just, who knows, it might just slide directly over. This will never fit. I had to get that on camera, but it wasn't working. I had to use some pliers to just drag them over, and it was actually very easy to do. So that is one end of the drive shaft. Now just do that 3 more times. They've been put together, and I must say that the universal portion of this has a tremendous, I mean, look at this. That's a lot of range, and the standard one, well, I'll show you the standard one in a minute. So this feels pretty darn good. Not very scale, but I think it's going to work well. And now we're going to have to pull the others out. And I'm pretty sure you do that by just yanking on them. Unfortunately, the only way I could get these off was by basically cutting them off. They were pressed really hard onto the axles, and there was potential for damaging the axle pieces, so it was just safer to cut them off. So to install the new axles, I'm going to get some thread lock and basically drench the thing, and then stuff it in here. I simply don't trust that these aren't going to back off, and we'll do that for every single one of these grub screws. The installation, you can see that it came with some shims, and this movement here is pretty minimal, but the movement in the front of the axle, or the output shaft of the, or the input shaft of the front axle is pretty high. So we're going to slide this over here. Don't even say it doesn't fit. Are you kidding me? Now get this, I measured the shaft with some calipers here. In fact, we'll do it right now. So I measured it while the axles were on the car still, and if we try and do it so you can see, 2.95. I then measured this hole here, and we have 2.98. So a tight fit, well actually it's 3. So 0.05 millimeters. Well, it turns out that when these things have been knurled like they've been to install plastic axles to be held in place, this won't fit. Not even close on both sides. So I grabbed some other ones that I had. These are more scale, and wouldn't you know it, they don't fit. None of these fit. So as you can imagine, I am very angry right now. This was to be a gift tomorrow. So now I have to figure out tonight how I can get the diameter of these dropped, because I can't drill these out with anything that I have here. But I figure if I spin these here, I can get these dropped down with the Dremel, and the same with these axles here. So this is very interesting and completely to be expected for some of these parts. So let's fix this. I went ahead and took the Dremel and basically ground down all the knurls that were on this input shaft. And what's funny is this is actually brass. I wasn't even thinking that out of the box it would come with anything other than a plastic here. So that was a welcome surprise. As you can see, after a little bit of grinding, it slides right on there, and we can snug that up. So that's, at least that's on there. I'll have to do the same to the transfer case as well as the front axle. I wanted to note that the front pinion is plastic on this truck. I suspect that the rear being the brass would have to do with the additional load of the tandem axles. So the drive shafts have now been installed. Let's go ahead and give them a go. They look way better than the old ones. Even the rear drive shaft and the universals, again, it's a lot beefier. I did shim the rear input and the front input with one shim, and now you can see there's a lot less axial play. I was very surprised to see that such modifications were necessary when the vendors all over the place are saying that these are direct bolt-ins. I know that you can get axle upgrades. In fact, I have one where the axle gears are brass, and I tried the diameter of those, and because they did not have the original plastic drive shafts, they were 2.9 millimeters in diameter, and the upgraded drive shafts were able to fit. But it's peculiar that you'd have to buy two different upgrades without any of that information. There are kits that you can buy, but still, I think that because we're looking at a fairly low-cost vehicle with these upgrades, we are going to see a lot of issues like this. I hope this gave you some additional information if you're interested in one of these WPL trucks, or if you already have one, or if you plan on upgrading one. So I hope this video was useful to you. I have to wrap this truck up for a birthday present, but I have plenty of more videos on not only the WPL trucks, but all my other designs coming up. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next time.